Yeah, Rowan, just going back to last week, have you unpicked that defeat to Salford and what are your findings from it?
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of positive stuff, particularly in attack team wise. We played well together. It was the sort of retaining possession in and around the contact that was the biggest factor to that. Defensively, also, against a team that throw a lot at you, we defended really well. We did concede 2 while we had 12. But aside from that, I thought we defended strongly, and it was a good quality game all round.
What is the mood generally in the camp after what's been a bit of a slow start to the season?
Yeah, good energy, good week of training to this point, and looking forward to finishing that off and going to a tough trip to Wigan and giving our best.
What have you made of Wigan so far? Obviously, they suffered not a shock defeat, but they were expected to go to Hull and win. What have you made of them and their form so far?
Oh, they've been one of the the standout teams. They've had a quality start to the season, and they're well coached, got a good roster, and they're playing with some level of confidence, and clearly they'll want to bounce back from last week's result. They came home strong at the back end of that game, so could have gone either way in the end. But they're a quality team with plenty of threat.
Back-to-back games as well against Wigan. Does that change your approach at all, or just business as usual?
No, we've got to play well this week, and our priority has to be all on this week. And it's an important game for our season. A really important game.
What's your message to fans who are perhaps a little anxious about the club's form and the position in the table?
Oh, we know we need to improve. We need to play a bit better for a bit longer in most games, but we've been in all the games, which is a good starting point. It's not where we want to be for sure, but we've been in and competing in every game, and the majority of our games could have gone either way. So we're not that far away from getting more results. We're still a way away from playing at the level we think we can, but we're not far away from results.
And there's no panic then, because obviously you got 16 rounds to go, and you went through something similar last year as a club.
Yeah, certainly not. We're focusing on getting ourselves ready to play well against Wigan and treating each week like it's a big game, which it is.
Yeah. Have you seen enough in the first 11 rounds and behind the scenes to convince you that you can achieve your goals this year?
Yeah, the belief in the group is within the group is strong. I have a belief in this group of players, and feel we're not far away from playing well, but clearly we need to get some results on the board, as well as improve how our ability to play better for longer during periods.
Yeah. There were reports of a heated altercation between Harry Newman and Tom Holroyd in the tunnel after the Salford game. Can you give an account of what happened from the club side?
Oh, these things happen from time to time. It's not something that we condone or want to happen, but players get frustrated, they get disappointed, and they're both very passionate guys that want to do well and want the team to do well. And they had a bit of a disagreement, and that was left there and then, and everyone's moved on.
Yeah, no lingering tension or anything like that.
No, not at all. Those guys have known each other and been mates for a long period of time. So it was just one of those things that can happen in sport at times.
How do you view that kind of incident as a coach? Is it good that they care, but there's a better way of doing it, kind of thing?
Certainly, there's a better way of doing it, but there's no shortage of passion and desire among the group, and sometimes you just got to temper it a little bit.
Yeah, are these confrontations more common than people may think in rugby league?
I wouldn't say they're common, but they're not uncommon. I'd say the majority of clubs, they have some kind of minor incidents, from time to time that almost always are quickly resolved.
Just on, you mentioned errors in the ruck. If I go all the way back to the pre-season game with Hull KR, I remember you mentioning that last season your errors around the play of the ball and stuff were incredibly low, and obviously they picked up. Is it a concern that seems to still be a bit of a lingering issue, especially given how efficient you were around that area in that great run last year?
It hasn't been the most significant part of all of our defeats. It's been a part of several defeats, which, I think if you look at every team when they perform poorly, they'll put it down largely to errors made. So we do need to clean it up. There's some personal responsibility there to reduce the errors just a little bit. Will make a big difference. 2 or 3 less errors in that game on the weekend, and the scoreline may well have been different.
It must be frustrating for you at times, in the sense, I remember there was one set in that game last week where you just rolled them. I think you'd scored for James Bentley, rolled them down the field, then made an error off the back of it. You seem like a few times this year there's been scenarios where you've cracked a team and then maybe just let them off the hook. Do you just need that element of ruthlessness, maybe, or even, I don't know if it's management thing of knowing when to try certain things or just persist? Does it just need to be a little bit sharper in that area, key moments in a game?
Yeah, certainly, to maintain possession on a few of those sets that you're speaking of from last week's game. To maintain possession, almost certainly would have resulted in at least very good field position on the back end of it. But it's getting that balance between trying to generate opportunities and score some points, rather than waiting for an opportunity. But yeah, the key thing for last week was more about personal responsibility within the tackle, and it's up to us all to practice that with diligence during the week and take that into the next game.
Is the James McDonnell injury a serious one or just a short-term one?
It's a short-term injury there. He tried to battle through the second half, but he was struggling there. So we made that change in the game, and it hasn't quite settled. So he won't be too far away though. I
suppose the not positive, but you have got ample cover, haven't you? There's like James Donaldson can step up. Obviously, Reece could move there. It's always the same. Someone's losses, someone's opportunity, sort of thing. Yeah,
for sure. We've got a good squad of players. We haven't quite gelled together into fluent, flowing performances as often as we'd like, but we have players there that I believe in, and they believe in each other. So when Macca misses out, there's opportunities for other players, and they're genuinely ready to give their best account. So we are in a fortunate position with our squad, but it's time to play well together for a bit longer, a bit more often.
Could I just ask you about Morgan Gannon? He obviously had a bit of a cameo on his return. It might have just been me, but physically he looked bigger. He looked like he'd maybe whether he's grown up or out, I'm not too sure. He just looked physically like a bit different. Is that a fair assessment? And if so, is that something that he's worked hard in that time when he hasn't been playing since the concussion?
Yeah, he grew a bit in the pre-season. I think height and definitely a little bit heavier through the pre-season. Once we got back into playing games through the lengthy pre-season fixture list, and then early in the season, that growth probably stalled a little bit. So the break following the concussion was one of those that we as a group decided to take to play the long game with Gano and use that as an opportunity to practice some things and improve some technical things and work on some reaction-based stuff, but in the same time, getting a bit more size on there. And, it was quite notable. I think a lot of people made comment that he looked a bit bigger and certainly stronger. His numbers in the gym are going up. So, it's been a very productive period for Gano.
How's Jack? Is he okay after his head knock last week?
Yeah, Jack was he was a bit bashed up after the game. His nose and his lip was a bit sore, but post sort of Saturday afternoon. Sunday he was fine. He sees a specialist doctor tomorrow, I believe, to cover that off, but he's had no symptoms or no major issues this week following that.
Both your sort of recognised sevens are unavailable this week. Are you going to give us a clue what you might do in the halves? Or not?
There's no fun in that.
You've got a couple of options, haven't you? With obviously there's Myler and Morgan Gannon played a bit there in pre-season.
Yeah, they're things that, I think are both opportunities of both things happening. We're actually got a couple of things to check through tomorrow for the balance of the squad, but we could possibly see both of those things happen during the game.
Darrell Olferts is back in the squad. He had obviously a tough time in his last game in difficult conditions at Hull KR. Would you have any concerns about putting him straight back in if necessary?
No, not at all. That was a unique occasion, that one. He had 2 or 3 kicks go his way that were extremely difficult to handle in extremely tough conditions, and I've seen plenty of players over the years, struggle to deal with those on that. So Darrell's trained well the last week or so, and he's a very experienced Super League player.
And you'll have good memories of Wigan. The last time Rhinos went there was quite a night, wasn't it? Be nice to recapture that sort of performance and mood and atmosphere.
Yeah, for sure. It was a special night, but this is its own one, and trying to replicate that on on a smaller scale. It's not a playoff game, but it's a really, really important game for us, and it's important for us to, as I said, play better for longer periods of the game and see if that's that's good enough against one of the competition's strongest teams.